looking at the technological advances. I used to be on dial-up looking for...
Raw was awful. Raw was an awful show again. So I'm only gonna, because I'm burnt. To be quite honest, I'm super tired. So we're gonna get to only talking about the King of the Ring, Queen's Crown, the Charlotte Bianca thing, and probably one other thing if I come across it. Oh, we gotta talk about Monster's promo. Not much to really get into in this show. A lot of rematches, a lot of dumb stuff. Okay, so Xavier Woods versus Finn Balor is the King of the Ring final. It was a shove-in match at the end of Finn Balor's match against Mace, which I don't know why that match even existed. And they are saying, oh, well, you know, Woods is like, you're going to stay a prince when I become a king. You're like, okay, I like that. It's babyface versus babyface, which is very interesting. Now, the entire internet is on Xavier Woods' side, which to me means Finn Balor should definitely win. And I think if you're looking towards taking, what do you want to get out of this tournament? A lot of these Saudi Arabian tournaments have been absolutely stupid. Like the best in the World Cup and all that kind of stuff. It meant nothing. Shane McMahon won and everybody was like, you know. But if this is going to really mean something, I'm talking long-term mean something, then Finn Balor should win this. Because he has the greater upside and he is a guy who needs something. And I think with him being on Raw, you have a good platform to launch Finn Balor against Big E. I think that's, especially as a heel. If you turn Finn Balor heel and put him against Big E, I think that's excellent. I think I've mentioned this before. Use Xavier Woods and his dream and all that crap to launch Finn Balor to the main event. Here's what I would do. I would have Finn Balor win the crown. And then, you know, they shake hands and all that stuff. And yay, you know, that's great. And then Finn Balor would throw the crown down and step on it. And then Xavier Woods would just look at it. And Finn Balor would just like grind his boot into it. Like, fuck this. I don't even want this. From there, you turn him heel. You use that as a launch pad for him to challenge Big E. He crushed Xavier Woods' dream. It's not even really what he wanted, but he's going to go around. He's going to crush the dreams of the New Day. Big E became WWE champion. Finn Balor is going to be there to take it from him, you know? And I think that's a good idea. I think it's a great idea, you know? I think you have to turn Finn Balor heel. I think he's become, you know, what made him interesting in NXT was that fact that he was teetering on being a heel. He was kind of a heel already, but the Undisputed Era was there, and you know, once he got into it with them, he became babyface again. But that's really what we want from Finn Balor, is that edge, you know, that misery, that him and his proclamation needs to mention the fact that the rope broke. I'm never going to get over that. I may not mention it every week, but please believe I'm not over the top rope breaking. He needs to mention that he's been screwed every step of the way, and that him beating Xavier Woods is just a lesson. Xavier needs to know how it feels to have his heart ripped out of his chest. Just like when that top rope broke, just like when John Cena signed that contract when he was his match, he had to learn and had to deal with heartbreak. So now Xavier Woods is going to have to deal with it, and now Big E's going to have to learn how to deal with it. Perfect. Bing, bang, boom. Set it up. Take that. Give me a $500 commission or whatever the case may be. I don't want a job. I don't work in Stanford. I work too many hours as it is. All right. So the Queen's Crown got a lot of people crying. A lot of people were upset that Shayna Baszler lost to Doudrop. They were also pretty upset at the shortness of the matches in the tournament. I have celebrated the fact that the Queen's Crown tournament has been short, because nothing gets you over like long matches. No. What gets you over is character and personality. If anything, what weakened this tournament was the lack of build-up for the matches. Same thing for the King. I mean, that's the thing about tournaments in general. You know, because you know who the next opponent is, you know, you really have to spend some time building it up, building some heat for these matches. But these matches are heatless. There's nothing really between the characters involved. So it's all just microwaved. And so why should it be 10 minutes? Why should it be 8 minutes? Why should it be 12 minutes? Why? Just because some people seem to think that the longer the match is, the more that you care about it? No. That's not how people think. That's not how people think at all. But Shayna Baszler loses to Doudrop. And it created a big hubbub. For starters, about the Shayna Baszler thing. Were they ever going to let a gay woman in Saudi Arabia? And I was like, what? I thought Doudrop was gay. I really did. I guess she isn't. She is. Doesn't matter. They're not fucking in the middle of the ring, for Christ's sake. They're having a wrestling match. And all these people who think that the Saudi princes, like, oh man, they're gonna kill the gays. It's like, if you just ask the Saudi prince in English, like, sir, do you even want women's wrestling on your show? You'd probably be like, you know what? Nah, not really. We could do without this if all I care. So it's not like the Saudi prince is booking the show. He's like, yes, I want to see Zelina Vega and versus Doudrop. He's probably just kind of like, do we have to have these women? These people are going to be mad because these are traditional Muslims. They're not going to be happy to see all these women's matches on this show. They're not going to be happy about that. They're going to look at that and be like, these Americans are a disgrace. You know? They're going to look at that. They're going to look at that and shake their head. They're going to go to concession stands. They're going to throw paper at them and all kinds of stuff. WWE is pushing it to even have multiple women's matches on this show. It's not like the Saudis are clamoring for this. No, they're not. Maybe some of the women are, but the guys are going to be looking at looking at this thing like, this is completely haram. This is haram as fuck, and something needs to be done, or they going to politely not pay attention and do something else. And that's why this stuff needs to be done quickly. Get it done quickly. All right. Doudrop is 200 pounds heavier than Zelina Vega. She's like 150 pounds heavier than Shayna Baszler. It makes sense that if Doudrop was to press her body back and pin Shayna Baszler's shoulders to the mat, she'd get a pinfall. Perfectly reasonable finish, as far as I'm concerned. Yes, it makes Shayna Baszler look stupid. Shayna Baszler should have let the move go and still been like flailing because she's under the weight of Doudrop. That would have been a better finish. Especially since we've overdone this whole thing with Shayna getting reversed. We've done that 1,000 times. I don't like that. Samoa Joe and Shayna Baszler. It's the whole, I'm not letting it go. It's silly. You got to be smarter. We got to be less cliche on the finishes. I'm also not that upset about Shayna Baszler losing because she's been losing all year. She's just been losing all year. So to me, it's not a big deal that she lost. So my guess is that Doudrop is going to win the Queen of the Ring. Now, the reason is because, like I said before, she's 200 pounds heavier than Zelina Vega. What magic are they going to pull where Zelina Vega, who is 5'0", approximately 98 pounds, how is she going to beat up Doudrop? With what, leg kicks? Shayna Baszler couldn't even hurt her with leg kicks, really. What is she going to do? Flying Hurricane Ranas? How can she move her big body with her small body? I just don't see any realistic way for Zelina Vega to win outside help. Unless she Nancy Kerrigan Doudrop and hit her in the knee with the scepter or something like that, which is possible. And Doudrop falls off the top rope like Yokozuna. Then okay, sure, Zelina Vega might win. But I don't see that being the case. I think the entire point of this was for Doudrop to go through the squash chicks. And I would have liked for Shayna Baszler to win. But I think her being Sonya's muscle is a better position for her anyway. Zelina winning, Zelina looked great in the crown with the scepter and everything. She looked fantastic. But I think this is all just a big setup for Doudrop to kill her in 40 seconds in Saudi Arabia. And guess what? It's good for Doudrop because she didn't get to... Now, hopefully she'll stop skipping and everything and be more badass. But... WWE. Probably the more successful she is, the more she's going to skip around. But it won't hurt the women's division to have either one of these two win. Doudrop is a fresh face. She's been on the roster less than a year. If she won the Queen of the Ring in her first year, that would be cool. Zelina Vega, if she was to win, because she's a really good promo, that would be really cool. So you got two pretty good potential athletes here to carry the Queen's crown. You can't really go wrong either way. But if you're looking at championship contenders, then yeah, you got to put it on Doudrop so she can potentially win the title. You know, they did this thing, what was a couple of weeks ago, where Doudrop lost to Charlotte. Okay, since Charlotte didn't lose to Bianca Belair, which I thought she was going to, which I think a lot of people thought she was going to, then running Doudrop versus Charlotte is fine. Okay, let's do that. Put the Queen of the Ring on Charlotte, on Doudrop, and then have her beat Charlotte. I think it's a natural storyline too, because Charlotte is like, I'm the queen, yada, 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 blibbity, blibbity, blip. So you have two queens on the roster, talk Charlotte into defending her title. And then Doudrop beats her 1, 2, 3 in the middle of the ring. Has the queens, has the title and the crown. We made ourselves, at least attempted to make a new star. And then you could have, I guess, Bianca Belair, KOD, Doudrop. And that would be great. That would be a great visual. I can't wait for it. Speaking of that, the big main event of the show is Bianca Belair versus Charlotte Flair for the Raw Women's title. The match ruled. Great match. They have good chemistry. Amazing what Charlotte can do with somebody who she actually has chemistry with. I'm a huge fan of Bianca Belair, have been for a long time. Her stuff still looks like she's thinking too much as she's doing her obviously routine match, but she's still like a rookie. It'll be okay. Eventually she'll get out of that. She'll get out of, it looking so stagey and everything. Hopefully. I don't want her matches to look like AEW matches all the time. But she's pretty good because she does good body language. Her spots are believable. They're not over the top. And even when they do things that I think are kind of silly, they're not outside of the realm of possibility. They always do a good job of showing that Bianca Belair is agile and strong. And, she played into the savagery of Charlotte, and Charlotte's breaking out some of her high flying moves, like the double moonsault, which is pretty cool. This match was a masterclass from two good female wrestlers. And when people I did see this, a lot of people were complaining about that Queen's Crown tournament. This match was probably longer than every match in that Queen's Crown tournament combined. Becky and Sasha from SmackDown certainly was. Here's the thing. Those women are not these women. Bianca and Charlotte and Asuka, they get all the time and stuff because they're good. All these other women, some of them are okay. Most of them are okay. But there is some glaring problem with them. Toni Storm doesn't have a personality. Neither does Liv Morgan. Zelina Vega is very, very small. Shayna Baszler has no real personality outside of I'm tough. So, Carmella and Dana Brooke have no personality. Natalya is Natalya. Tamina is Tamina. Nia Jax is Nia Jax, for Christ's sake. Who else among the field should be working 8-9 minutes, 10-15 minutes? Who? None of them. So keep it short. Alexa Bliss, she has a character, but I think she's still off. I think she's teasing that she's coming back soon. That ought to be fun, So that's really my thing. Is you look at the field and then you look at the 5 or 6 or 7 horsewomen that they've been using, the 4 horsewomen, of course, and then the 3 hangers on, the Bianca and Rhea and Asuka. Like those 3, they have been able to, get in these matches with horsewomen and last and hang around and actually get wins because they're good. They got some size to them, or at least they don't look very small. Like Nikki looked really small against Charlotte. That's why, they bullied her out of the main event spot. I think, what was it, Jim Cornette said she's 12 years old. Yeah, Nikki is very small. Zelina Vega is also very small. Alexa Bliss is also very small. If you know what? if you want to have a title just for a women's mini championship, you know, for all of the petite women like Zelina Vega and Alexa Bliss and Liv Morgan, and there's others on the roster. Xia Li is another one. There's probably some more that I can't think of off the top of my head that are under 5'5" that are really small women. You know, that's like a flyweight division. You know, why not? You know, WWE has too many titles. Okay, you're right. Plus, we don't need any more women's matches. But I see why they let the tall, muscular women, the women who have size, they let them do their thing. Or the women who have tremendous skill, like Asuka. Asuka's not tall, but she's incredibly skilled. They let them do their thing. Everybody else, 3 minutes. Get in and get the hell out. Okay, I ain't got no problem with that. I ain't going to argue with you, boss. So, I think Doudrop wins. I think Finn Balor wins. I've been wrong a lot in this tournament, so who knows, man. I have no idea what's really going to happen. But I'm going with Doudrop and I'm going with Finn Balor. All right, that's the King of the Ring. Charlotte getting disqualified. I mean, I kind of saw it coming. You know, I kind of saw her getting disqualified coming. I saw a lot of people being upset about it. I was too. I was deflated. Because I've been working a long time, but thankfully I was fueling my body. I was eating, so I was watching Raw and eating, and I was like, okay, you know, this match is pretty good. And then it was like disqualification. And I was like, you know what? They want me to be mad about this. You know, you have to understand. Almost every Raw match is disqualification bait. If it's a main event of any description, there is some opportunity for disqualification. You know, I think too many people have gotten this. It should be like Japan, and everybody gets a clean win. You know, even the G1 is absolute trash, by the way. I watched bits and pieces of it. It's absolute trash. You know, after I heard Yujiro Takahashi beat, what was it? Was it Ibushi he beat? And then you had Hiroshi Tanahashi get beat by some nobody. What was it, Chase Owens or something like that? I'm like, man, this tournament is ass. And this is the kind of shit that they want to import to the United States with AEW. You know, every match is a clean victory. You know, that's why you ignore and not put any heat on any of these matches. And then you don't do rematches. You don't do anything because you're trying to protect guys. It's like, no, disqualification, a count out. It's cheap heat. It works. Wrestling is built on it. I could tell you, man, there was a stretch of time there. You go back and watch the network where it felt like every world-class championship wrestling main event ended in disqualification. It felt like it. It felt like every single week the Freebirds were getting disqualified. They were throwing chairs. They was hitting people with chairs. They would get beat up and get run away. Divine Eric would run in the ring and beat somebody up and they'd get disqualified. Every week, and guess what? The people would go crazy every week. Oh, you know, they didn't care that it was a disqualification. They didn't care that the match didn't end the way that they wanted it to. They didn't care about a clean finish. You know, when Flair used to work those matches and he'd get disqualified at the end of them, or it'd be a count out or something like that, people didn't care. Nobody was ever deflated and defeated and beat up because we didn't get a clean finish. That's a modern thing. Now, I like clean finishes as much as the next person, but it has to make sense. I thought it would have made sense for Bianca Belair to win this match because why would Charlotte need Raw's title and she's going to be on SmackDown? Similarly, why would Bianca Belair need the SmackDown Women's title shot if she's going to be the Raw Women's Champion? That doesn't make sense. Which means they booked themselves into a corner, which is what WWE does all the time. So, I mean, and they got out of it the only way that they could. Disqualification. So, there that go. And speaking of another disqualification, there was another good match, solid match. Street Profits versus Rated RK Bro. Rated RK Bro. You see I'm tired. RK Bro. This match was fun. Riddle did this whole spinning guts wrench suplex on Ford, which was cool. Then Amos and AJ Styles interfered. I mean, oh boy, that was a pain. I gotta tell you, that was pain. It was okay, but it was pain. It was painful. We found out that Big E and Drew McIntyre can coexist. Not like we asked, because we don't care, right? None of us care about them coexisting at all. So the final thing I want to talk about is Mon Stewart cutting this mean promo on Mustafa Ali. And I think he impressed a lot of people with this promo. And showing the fire and the bass that he put into his voice. Ali and Mon Stewart are both decent to good promos. We already knew Mon Stewart was a decent promo because he'd cut promos before. But he had never had any real material. But he actually does now. So, we got this storyline with Mustafa. It's a long-term storyline, too. Like, they started this Mustafa Ali and Mon Stewart thing. What was it? In the summer? Probably even before summer? They were a tag team for a long time. And, it doesn't feel like it because WWE doesn't put any emphasis on it. But they have put some effort into this storyline. It's not just slapdash, we doing this for Crown Jewel. They actually knew they were going to have this match at Crown Jewel. And they put some heat on this match for Crown Jewel. Now, they didn't promote it the way that they should have. They didn't put the emphasis on it that they should have. These guys should probably be fighting for a title or something like that. But it's still a good match and a good personal feud. And between two guys that I think have great potential. If only WWE would let them go. Let these... Look, I'm a size guy too. I'm far more in the camp of push Damian Priest and Karrion Kross over some of the smaller guys. But you still have to have room for the smaller guys. There's plenty of talent in Humberto Carrillo and Angel Garza and Mon Stewart and Mustafa Ali. There's a lot of talent in those guys. You have to, at some point, let them get over. Or, you have to ask the question, what are they even there for? What do they exist for? Outside of taking Saito suplexes and getting choked out by big guys. That's not, I mean, if it was the 1990s or something like that, it'd be perfectly fine, but it's not. This is the age where, Kofi Kingston and Bryan Danielson can be world champions. And guys could be 5'8", 168 pounds, and be world champion. And WWE doesn't have a problem doing that. They just pushed, Finn Balor in the main event of a pay-per-view. He's 5'6", 180 pounds or something like that. He super pushed Adam Cole. He's like 5'6", barely 150 pounds. You can push these guys. You can do more with them. And I'm not saying they need to be the main event of WrestleMania, but you can put more effort into the storylines that you're, and then give them more creative freedom. Let them build more. Let them do more. Let them get themselves over. I don't understand the point of paying people to do nothing or not getting the most out of them. Get the most out of these guys if you're going to be paying them. But the Mon Stewart promo was very good. I enjoyed that. I really wish that, the Saudi Arabia stuff wasn't what it is, because Mon Stewart is a legitimately good talent. His English is great. His Arabic is good too, it seems. He can wrestle. He has a decent to good look. The only thing is, the moment he gets a push, people are going to say it's only because of Saudi Arabia. It's only because they're doing the Saudi shows. And that's really definitely going to hold him back, because everybody's going to see any push that he gets as being sucking up to the Saudis, as if, the Saudis have some type of huge pull. In terms like Mon Stewart is their handpicked boy or something like that. Mon Stewart is probably a little too American for their taste, to be quite honest. But he's a talented guy, man. I want to see more from him. I think Mustafa Ali is very talented as well. I think that match is probably going to steal the show. But there's a lot of good matches on this Crown Jewel show. And maybe I'll do a prediction show. That ought to be fun. So, but Raw was Basura once again. They're threatening us with a Raw season premiere, which I'm guessing is going to bring back the return of all the stars that disappeared. Bearcat Lee, so he's coming back. I'm guessing Damian Priest and Karrion Kross are both going to be coming back. That ought to be nice. That ought to jazz up this show. They did a smart thing by taking some of those guys away, by taking them off TV for a little while, because they apparently are retooling, some of these characters and stuff. Like I saw, they're actually retooling Karrion Kross character again. He hasn't been on TV in a while. At least I don't remember seeing him. He hasn't even been cutting promos. So it ought to be interesting what they do for the Raw season premiere, which is following the Saudi show. They need to fix it. And I think they're going to bring back some of the stars. And you know what? Okay. As long as we got something for Keith Lee and Finn Balor and Damian Priest and all of these guys that they're bringing in, Tony Storm and Zelina Vega, as long as they got something for all of these people, it ought to be okay. There ought to be some big returns and maybe even some call-ups, some surprise call-ups. It ought to be fun. It ought to be fine. But Raw has been dreadful since the draft. Even before the draft, of course. But I'm saying, like, since the draft, it's been really bad. And this week was no different. It's just been dry. It's just been a dry show. It's a lot to complain about, but it's just nothing happening. And Raw needs to have stuff happening. You don't need to have long matches. You don't need to have long promos. You need to have stuff happening, constantly engaging the audience with stuff. I'm not saying like go full Crash TV like Vince Russo, but you need to go like, let's go 30% Crash TV. If like 30% of Raw was just uncontrollable chaos, that would be so much better than what the way Raw is now, where it's too much structure to the point where it's formulaic. You can tell just when they announce a match, it's going to end disqualification. They continuously doing the can we coexist, constantly with the championship contenders match, the short women's match. They start the show the same way, end the show the same way. It's like, I would like for them to mix things up a lot more often than they do. And I think that too many shows, Impact does it, AEW does it, everybody has a format. They have a template and they just follow that template. Look at how many times AEW is going to start with CM Punk's entrance and they start with a match. Impact always starts with a match. Then they go into a series of promos. Then they have another match. Then they do another long series of promos. They do another match, another series of promos, and another match. It's the same structure every goddamn time. I would like if shows actually took the time to change up the way that they do things. Keep me on edge as a viewer. You don't have to do stuff the same way, same time. And AEW, the one thing they do properly is they show that you don't have to follow up every story every week. You can kick the can down the road a week or two and come back to that story later. You can do that. Now AEW may take a month off, like they did with Cage and Starks. Like, no, you can't do that because I don't even remember what happened at that point. But you can do a vignette or something like that and say that these guys aren't in the building or, whatever the case may be, but they've been having their personal problems and stuff like that. You don't have to have guys match it every week. You don't have to cut promos on each other every week. They don't have to talk to each other or about each other every week. There's ways of doing these stuff to make it interesting. Raw is just not interesting. It's falling into a formula, and it needs to be broken up. It needs to break up. Now, and I don't know what else to do except say that Raw sucks.
Yeah. We just gonna